Today, I'm going to be talking about deal sourcing because the first question that people ask me when I tell them what they do, I tell them I'm a short-let property manager and I'm a deal sourcer. The first question that they ask is, what's a deal sourcer? So I'm going to tell you exactly what a deal sourcer is. I'm going to tell you how you can become a deal sourcer, and I'm going to give you a breakdown of exactly how the deal sourcing process works. So deal sourcing is when a property deal sourcer, me, goes out, finds a below market value house. Maybe the house needs some work doing to it, where you can uplift the value, and you have investors, okay, that want to invest in property, but they don't necessarily have the skills or the time to go out and find below market value deals. Alright, so you bring the two together, the deal sourcer finds the deals, the investor has the money, and then the deal sourcer will sell the deal to the investor. Or you might get a situation where the deal sourcer and the investor come together and work together, and we call this JV partnering. So the investor might put all or most of the money in, and the deal sourcer might put some money in and go and find the deal and then project manage the deal and make sure, you know, everything's running smoothly. He speaks to the solicitors, make sure that they're doing the job properly. Then they've got the house and the work needs doing, so he becomes the project manager of the property, and he sees it all the way through to the end, to either whatever they do with it, whether they sell it or refinance it. So that's his job. The investor's job, simply put the money in. So a lot of people ask me when I tell them this, they say, is there really people out there that are, you know, willing to pay you to find them a deal? And I'm like, yes, of course. And I say, if you have an investor that has a lot of money to invest in houses, because usually if you get an investor that they haven't got one house, they're looking to get 3 or 4 or 5, or maybe they've already got that, and they don't have time to go out and find property deals. They just don't have the time. It's very time consuming. So that's one reason they pay you for your time. The second reason is it's a skill, and not many people have the skill to go out and find great property deals. You've got to be a great negotiator, you've got to understand the market, you've got to understand the area, what things will actually sell for when they're done up to a high standard. It takes a lot of time to acquire this knowledge. So yes, they will pay you. They'll pay you for your time and they'll pay you for your expertise. What's the typical fee for a deal sourcer? Usually between £2,000 and £5,000, and it usually depends on the area, and it usually depends on the deal. How much are you going to make? If I find an investor a property that's worth £1 million and we secure it for 750,000, I'd be wanting to sell that deal for 10,000 maybe, because that's an extraordinary deal. But if you're in the northeast and you get a buy-to-let property and you know it's worth 115,000 and you can secure it for 95 or 90, and there's £25,000 in it, you might sell that for 2 or 3. Okay, because there's not as much money to be made. So generally, that's what you can expect to make, £2,000 to £5,000. How do you become a deal sourcer, and what are the steps to being a deal sourcer? Well, there's plenty of steps. There's lots of different steps that you have to take. You have to be compliant. You have to be signed up to anti-money laundering. You have to be signed to the PRS. You have to have insurances. How you become a deal sourcer, or how you become a good deal sourcer, is you have to find investors. And you have to find the investors first, okay? Because people hear about it, I want to become a deal sourcer, and you know, they pick up the skills. Sometimes you can have the skills, they know their area very well, and they go out and they find a really great deal in their area, and they know that it's worth £200,000. And they secure it for 160 after a lot of house viewings and a lot of negotiation and a lot of awkward talks with estate agents. Finally, they get a house for way below market value. And the estate agent rings them up and they say, your offer's been accepted. And they go, yes, fantastic. And the estate agent says, all we need now is all of your details, proof of funds, and we can take that off the market for you. And they go, oh. Because they don't have any investors lined up. So that is the number one reason that people fail when they start doing deal sourcing. So to be a good deal sourcer, the first thing that you need is investors. Now that's difficult to get when you're starting out. So what I tell people to do is co-deal source. Okay, and co-deal sourcing is when you find somebody that already has an investor list. They're already established. There's lots of people that are already established deal sources out there. And you say to them, hey, Grant, if I can find a deal, a really good deal, and you think that the numbers stack, would you sell it for me? And I'd say, yes, if the numbers stack, then yes, I will sell it for you. But the numbers have to stack and you need to make sure that you've got quotes for the work, you need to make sure that you've done your price comparisons for the houses that are around you, you need to tell me how much rent you can get for the house, etc, etc. Once you've done all that, and you send it me and I'll look it over, yes, I will sell it for you. Okay? Now, if you're a co-deal sourcer, if you're co-deal sourcing and you're passing deals on to somebody, you don't need to be compliant. So you don't need to pay all of the upfront costs, which is about £2,000, to become a compliant deal sourcer. You can just pass those first deals on. And the money you get, the split that you get from that, you can then use to become fully compliant. Usually, if I was to take a deal, and let's say the fee was $3,000 for the deal, we're gonna charge an investor $3,000 for that deal. Usually, I would take $2,000 or $1,500. I would take £2,000 or $1,500 from that because I have the investors. You found the deal, so usually it's either a 40-60 split or 70-30, or I usually take a little bit more because I have the investor list. So if you are wanting to become a deal sourcer and you're wanting to find investors, where do you find investors? Well, there's an array of places where you can find investors. You can find them on the internet, but to do that, to find them on the internet, you need to put yourself out there, and you need to put a face to your brand. So what I mean by this is, you see a lot of deal sources on the internet, and they've got an Instagram page, Facebook page, all of that. They've got a logo, they've got a website, but they don't actually post a picture of themselves. There's nothing. You don't know who they are. You don't know if they're even a real person. And if you want investors to trust you and invest in you, you have to show them who you are and what you can do, and they need a face to the name. Okay? So the first way to do that is get a social media presence and start making videos, but get your face out there and let people know what you do, and the investors will come to you. Let them know you're a deal sourcer. Say, if you want to invest with me, okay, this is what I do. Let me know if you want to invest, and I'll find a deal for you. Okay? Another great place is auctions. So if you think about this, it's such a mind-blowing thing, really, when you think about it, and not many people are doing this. An auction is the best place to find motivated investors, because if you go to an auction, you can sit at the back of the room and you can scout the people that have just missed out on great property deals, okay? You don't want to go and speak to the person who's just bought one. Well, you could do, but I like to go and speak to the people that have just missed out, the people that were bidding, but they didn't get the property. And I like to go up and I like to say to them, hi, I'm Grant. I'm a property deal sourcer in the Northwest. I just saw you lose out on that deal. I'm really sorry you lost out on that deal. It was a great deal. But would you be open for me to find you a deal? I can find you a deal as good as that. And if you're happy with it, you can get it from me. Can I take your email? Can I take your phone number and put you on my investors list, and I'll send you out the deals when I get them? Could you do that? Of course you could. Okay? And you'll find tens, if not hundreds, of investors in that room. Okay? And you say the same thing to them. And before you know it, you start getting an investors list. Where else do you find them? Property networking events. There's lots of free property networking events out there. Sometimes you might have to pay £10. Sometimes you might have to pay £50 or £100 to go to a property network event. I would always say do your research on that and make sure that it's worth going. If it's a good trainer, if you've got someone that's well established and they know what they're talking about, it's worth paying £50 to go to a course for a day. You're always going to learn something, and you don't know who you're going to meet there. It's worth paying the £50 if you're serious. What I would tell people and suggest to people is that you don't need to pay thousands and thousands of pounds to get trained up. Go to networking events, go to auctions, get your investors list, and then really start honing your skills and going out and finding those property deals. People say to me, how many investors do you need to get started? Well, you need a serious investor, really. You just need one, because there are investors out there that are buying one house a month. So if you have an investor, if you can find one investor that will buy one house per month off you, and they're out there, then that's £3,000 a month. So that's a full-time salary, just for finding one deal for one investor per month. But once you've got one and you become well known, you'll start getting recommendations, you'll get more than one investor. So just build up your brand, build up your name, and the investors will come. If you want any advice, drop me a message, I'm happy to talk. If you need any services from me, if you need your short let managing, okay, visit our website, that tells you everything that we do. If you are an investor and you want to go on my mailing list and you want me to send you your deals from the Northwest, then again, get in touch. I'll leave my number in the description. I'll leave my Instagram in the description. Thank you for watching. There's going to be lots more content coming out over the year. I'm going to try and do a video every week, every Sunday I'm going to post out. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.